Right now at 4 o'clock, high temperatures are creating dangerous fire conditions. We're also seeing dense smoke from all those fires burning on the western slope. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
I'm Alexandra Lewis. We are following breaking news at this hour of a wildfire causing parts of Highway 40 to close in Grant County. Firefighters there are working on a wildfire named the Windy Gap Fire. Highway 40 closed about 2 miles west of Granby to allow for emergency vehicles to be able to get to that area. The fire is about 2 acres in size, but it is growing. The Grand County Sheriff's Office issued a pre-evacuation notice for those in the area to be prepared. Right now, hot and dry conditions are making the wildfires in Rio Blanco County very active. The Lee Fire is growing rapidly, now more than 22,000 acres, and remains uncontained. It crossed Highway 13, causing more evacuations in that area. It's now burning on federal, state, and private lands. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen is heading out west, and I will bring you a live report tonight at 9 and 10 from him. The Elk Fire is now more than 8,300 acres in size. The fire is also not contained tonight. Governor Polis issued a disaster emergency to support response efforts to the fire. He updated it to include the Lee Fire as well. There will be a community meeting at 7 o'clock tonight at Meeker High School to inform those folks of what's happening.
And take a look at this, a satellite time lapse giving us a better view of smoke spreading into the Front Range yesterday. You can see the two Elk and Lee fires highlighted there, and the smoke just pushing on east towards the metro area. We want to get to senior meteorologist Chris Bianchi. And you know, Chris, we complain about the heat here, but it has been so dry on the western slope.
Exactly. We've been talking about that really, I feel like, all spring long, going back to April and May. In the Denver area along the Front Range urban corridor here, basically where you don't see an air quality alert right now, we had a very wet April, May, and June. Other side of the Continental Divide, totally different story, and that's why all those fires are popping up there. We just talked about the new one along Highway 40. I hate to say it here, folks, we are going to see more fires pop on up as we head over the next few days. Air quality alert, that is because specifically of the Elk and the Lee fires, especially the Lee fire. That's the biggest one that's contributing to all that smoke. And in fact, in Fort Collins, the air quality right now in Fort Collins, amongst some of the worst in the world. I was just looking at an air quality index reading from Fort Collins showing about 106 AQI. That ranks up there with places like in India and in China right now. So the air quality right now across northern Colorado, it is really bad. Limit your time outside. In Denver, not so bad. The plume of smoke's really directed at northern Colorado. It's just really hot. Mid-90s for us. We did have a brief burst of gusty winds across parts of the metro area. Just north of the Mousetrap, we had a brief 63-mile-an-hour wind gust within the last hour and a half. That's because of dry microbursts moving their way through. So kind of a lot of weather going on while there's not really a lot of weather, if that makes sense. Mid-90s for us in Denver, 102 in Pueblo, so really hot for us. Radar right now showing some of those dry thunderstorms. Of details on all of that for you in just a few minutes.
Developing national news, 5 soldiers who were shot at an Army base in Georgia are expected to survive. It happened this morning at a base about 40 miles southwest of Savannah. 3 hours ago, officials confirmed the suspect is a co-worker of the soldiers, but a motive is still unclear. Base officials say the sergeant used a personal handgun in the shooting and not a military weapon. He was taken into custody about half hour after the shooting happened. Officials say other soldiers who saw the shooting helped take him down until police got there. For the third straight year, Colorado's governor has called the legislature back for a special session.
The state is projected to be short about $800 million in tax revenue following the passage of the Republican budget bill in Congress. Basically, the state already knows it cannot pay the bills for the budget year that just started. Political reporter Marcia Zellinger is here to explain how Colorado believes it's almost $1 billion in the hole 1 month into the budget year.
Tax policy and math and not enough couch cushions, Kim. Starting in October, because of changes made by the Republican-led Congress in Washington, corporations will pay fewer dollars in taxes than expected. That's a big chunk of revenue Colorado will no longer get. Colorado's Democratic Governor Jared Polis announced the special session this morning. News we broke on Next with Kyle Clark yesterday based on legislative sources. The special session later this month asks lawmakers to make some cuts to state departments, but also to change the tax policy for those corporations so that they can continue to pay the state taxes Colorado expected instead of the same federal tax break Congress gave them. The changes in Washington also have eaten into the Tabor refund Coloradans could have anticipated next year.
Not only was it a balanced budget, it was one that had a Tabor surplus. Every Coloradan was going to get a taxpayer refund. There was about a $300 million surplus based on estimates. And that has all changed with the signature of President Trump on this bill here.
Budget dollars are not the only focus of the special session that begins 2 weeks from tomorrow. Polis has also asked lawmakers to change state law to allow Medicaid patients to continue to use Planned Parenthood for non-abortion related services, a change that was made at the federal level. Lawmakers are also being asked to tweak the Healthy School Meals for All ballot question that you'll see in November to also help fund food assistance benefits, SNAP benefits, in the future. And a first-in-the-nation artificial intelligence law is supposed to take effect in February. There's a debate about whether or not it costs the state upwards of $5 million, so the governor has asked lawmakers to make changes to that bill as well.
They've got a lot to do, and how much time?
Oh, well, you only need 3 days, and if it's going to be a heat wave the way we've experienced what Chris Bianchi was just showing us, there's no reason to be in that building longer than 3 days because there's no air conditioning unless you're in certain rooms, and last week when it was not bad today. Last week, sweltering.
Okay, well, that means negotiations. Let's agree. Let's go. All right. Thank you, Marshall. We know you'll be following it. Denver's newest soccer team is adding a new leader to the squad.
Today, the summit announced who will be leading the team as head coach. Chris Tavares here with the answer. This is exciting.
Nick Cushing, first head coach in Denver Summit FC history. We've been waiting for this day for a while. The front office came into place in the spring with the hiring of Kurt Johnson as GM and Jen Millay as team president. And now we know that Nick Cushing will be the team's first head coach in franchise history. Cushing comes to Denver with a ton of experience in both the men's and women's game. This season, he served as interim head coach of Manchester City Women, and he's been in that role since March. Manchester City is also where he started his career back in 2008, working with the club in schools and academy programs on the men's side of things. In 2013, he took over as head coach of Manchester City Women, leading that team for 7 seasons. Then in 2020, he went back to the men's game, joining New York City FC in Major League Soccer as an assistant coach. He was promoted to interim head coach 2 years later, and then to the full-time head coach in 2023, leading the club for 2 seasons. He's got a ton of experience under his belt. He's familiar with the game both over in Europe, here stateside with the MLS, so a well-rounded head coach to be the first guy leading this group of women.
Okay. 2 thumbs up from you then?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I mean, it's a blank slate for him. He can go and kind of do whatever he wants. I think expectations, you got to keep them tempered for an expansion franchise that's just starting out, but he's got the credentials, certainly. He's won a bunch of trophies over in Europe. He led New York City FC to the Eastern Conference Final, so he's got experience leading high-level teams deep in playoff runs and in tournaments as well.
It's not the time for a first-year coach with a first-year team kind
Exactly.
of thing.
And so you don't have to worry about that. He's got plenty of experience. And again, both on the men's and women's side, I think that kind of makes him a little more well-rounded.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
I like it.
Yep.